we're going to break down something you might not see every day, an attack warning from Amazon. And, this isn't just about your shopping cart. It's a signal that has some pretty deep implications for the entire country's infrastructure, both digital and physical. So, let's get right into it.
So, just imagine for a second you see that message pop up. Amazon is under attack. Your first thought might be, oh no, is my package going to be late? Or maybe something's wrong with your account? But what if that alert actually means something way bigger is happening behind the scenes? Well, that's the big question we're going to answer.
You see, an attack warning from a company the size of Amazon isn't treated as just a corporate headache. For U.S. government agencies, it's actually a signal of a potential threat to our national infrastructure. So yeah, the stakes are incredibly high.
Okay, so first things first. To really get why one of these warnings is such a big deal, we have to look at what Amazon has become. And spoiler alert, it is so much more than just an online store.
There's actually an official term for this, used by the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. You'll hear them called CISA. The term is Systemically Important Critical Infrastructure. It's a mouthful, I know. But it basically means an organization that's so woven into our daily lives that if it gets disrupted, the effects could ripple through the entire national economy and even impact our security. And this really breaks down how Amazon has that massive reach. It's not really one business. It's more like three huge interconnected operations. You've got the retail and fulfillment side we all know with over 1.5 million employees. Then you have Amazon Web Services, or AWS, which is the digital backbone for countless banks, hospitals, and even federal agencies. And finally, there's a massive physical transportation network of planes, trucks, and vans moving goods all across the country. And to put the scale of just one of those pillars into perspective, check this out. Amazon accounts for almost 38% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Think about that. That's nearly 40 cents of every single dollar spent online. That is just an enormous footprint in our economy.
So if you're that important, how in the world do you detect an attack across all those massive, complex systems? Well, let's take a look inside their digital defense machine.
Right, so it's not like there's just one big firewall. It's a defense with many, many layers. They're constantly scanning for unusual network patterns, analyzing who is trying to access what systems, using machine learning to spot fraud before it happens, and even monitoring their physical supply chain. And on top of all that, they have massive scale protection against attacks designed to just overwhelm their websites.
Now, a really central idea behind all this is something called zero trust architecture. The simplest way to think about it is this. Instead of just having a security guard at the front door of the building, imagine there's a guard at the door to every single room. And that guard checks your ID every time you enter, even if they just saw you a minute ago. It's a system that trusts no one by default. Let's look at one common type of attack, called a distributed denial of service, or DDoS. It's basically a giant, coordinated digital traffic jam. Imagine millions of fake customers all trying to rush through the front door of a store at the exact same time. The whole point is to clog the entrance so badly that real customers can't get in. That's pretty much what a DDoS attack does to a website. So, and this is really the crucial point, these warnings don't happen all the time. The system is built to handle the constant low-level noise of the internet. An official public warning means that their internal systems have spotted something serious, a coordinated effort that goes way beyond the normal, everyday background chatter. Okay, so we know how they spot these things, but what's really at stake? What's the ripple effect if those defenses don't hold? This really spells out the chain reaction. See, a problem with Amazon Web Services doesn't just mean a few websites are down. It could affect your bank, your hospital's records, maybe even parts of the energy grid. A glitch at a fulfillment center can snarl supply chains for essential goods. It just goes to show how tangled up our modern economy is with these platforms. And a warning like this is usually triggered by very specific things. We're talking about a massive, automated attempt to log in using stolen passwords, a sudden spike in fraudulent credit card attempts, or a whole network of infected computers trying to find a weak spot. These are the kinds of concrete signals that tell them a storm is brewing.
So, with stakes this high, the response to a potential attack isn't just handled by the company's IT department. It's actually treated as a national security event.
And this right here is really the bottom line of this whole explainer. Because Amazon's web services and logistics network are the foundation for so many other businesses and government functions, a serious attack on them is effectively an attack on the digital backbone of the entire U.S. economy. And the response to this kind of thing follows a pretty clear playbook. You can see here that long before you or I would ever hear about it, security teams are already seeing weird patterns. If it looks serious, federal agencies like the FBI and CISA get a call, defenses are activated, and only then, after all that, is a public warning even considered. It's a very deliberate process.
And take a look at who's involved. This is a huge team effort. You have Amazon's own security experts working side by side with cyber divisions at the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security. They also bring in partners from banks and even international security teams. This is a real-world example of a public-private partnership in action.
So when it comes down to it, if you see an alert like this, the thing to remember is that it's not just about one company having a bad day. It's really a small, visible sign of a constant, invisible battle that's being fought every single day to secure the digital world that we all rely on. And all of this leaves us with a pretty big question for the future, right? As more and more of our lives, our economy, our social connections come to depend on just a handful of these digital giants, how do we as a society protect this shared infrastructure for everyone? That's the real challenge ahead. Thanks for joining me.